Connor Roberts at 29 is considered towards not even the veteran stage, but by far the oldest of the Burnley defence. But I'm sure those defenders, and indeed their own record, is saying it's not just about the goalkeeper and back four. When you've got a good defensive record, which Burnley sure have, it's about how they defend as a team, as a unit. And Scott Parker has had them brilliantly drilled this season. As for Plymouth, well, it's been choppy waters for them in England's second tier. They only stayed up on the final day of the last championship season, and this time they've got work to do. But they've been pretty good at home. They've played 13 championship matches here at Home Park this season, and they've lost only 3 of them. 4 wins rather, and 6 draws. 18 of their 21 points have been gained on home soil. So can they lift their performance here against a very confident Burnley side? Certainly confident from a defensive point of view, as I pointed out. Scott Parker will be looking for more firepower in attack, I'm sure. 3 of Burnley's last 4 games have finished 0-0. Conditions perfect, really. A little bit of mist in the air, but no rain. Certainly not ahead of kick-off. And although the United Kingdom is set for very strong winds on Friday and into the weekend, there's a storm coming, no sign of it yet. And it's quite a benign evening here. And as the 2 teams make their way out, Plymouth in their usual green, of course. Burnley in their normal first choice kit of claret and blue. Well, they're very loyal supporters here at Plymouth, and they can generate some really good noise and atmosphere when things are going right here at Home Park. Burnley fans making the long journey on this Wednesday night. It is a long one, down from the northwest of England to the southwest. And there is James Trafford, who made all the headlines with those 2 penalty saves last Friday against Sunderland. Well, Plymouth, the headline news for them: no Morgan Whittaker in the squad tonight. The reason isn't clear at the moment, but his absence will only intensify speculation about his future. Tonight's opponents and Middlesbrough have both made bids for Whittaker in this month's transfer window. Nathaniel Ogbeta comes in as the only change from the 1-0 defeat here last Saturday against Queen's Park Rangers. 3-4-2-1. We expect head coach Miron Muslik to line Plymouth up here this evening. As for Burnley, they make only 1 change as well from that Friday goalless draw at home to Sunderland. Lucas Pires in at left-back, replacing Chelsea loanee Bashir Humphreys, who drops to the substitutes bench. Midfielder Josh Brownhill leads the way for goals in this lineup, with an impressive tally of 9 this season. Bournemouth loanee Jayden Anthony, look out for him, he's been in excellent form lately. So how to cope without their best attacking player, Whittaker? The other players in the forward positions, Al Hadj, one of them, alongside Ryan Hardy, going to have to step up to the plate, try and become a team that can break through this magnificent Burnley defensive rearguard. South African international Lyle Foster, part of the Burnley attack. He'll be one side of the central striker Zian Fleming. Foster's normally a number 9, but he's playing on the left of the attack for Scott Parker, who just embraces Miron Muslik there. Scott Parker, who's twice won promotion from the Championship with Fulham in 2020 and Bournemouth in 2022. John Busby, tonight's referee, assisted by Mark Russell and Nigel Lugg, and our fourth official, Alex Chinovich. One last huddle from the Plymouth players. So important as the bottom team in the Championship gets set to kick us off, that they get off to a promising start. Immediately, ball played back to goalkeeper Dan Grimshaw. Scooped clear by Connor Roberts, the Welsh international. Throw here for Ogbeta, the player who's come in for the absent Whittaker. Plymouth will always be a selling club, even though they, of course, would love to have Morgan Whittaker for the rest of the season. It's not certain that they will have to do without him after this January transfer window shuts, but the fact that Whittaker isn't in the squad at all tonight, and there was no sign of any injury or illness in the build-up to this game, will only fuel that heavy speculation that he's on his way out of Home Park in the January transfer window. It'll be news that the Plymouth fans would not have wanted to hear, but probably feared nonetheless. If the price is right, Plymouth will sell. Here's Brownhill. Now Roberts. Cullen neatly sidesteps Hardy. This is the Frenchman Estève. Forward by Pires. Burnley's settling into a nice early passing groove here. Estève. Good pressure applied there by Badu. Good climb by Estève. Here's Cullen. Here's Morgan Whittaker, if I'm not mistaken, underneath the mask and the hood. Whittaker, of course, who made the headlines earlier this month, scoring the goal that saw Plymouth surprise Premier League Brentford away from home in the FA Cup third round. It's produced a plum fourth round home draw for Plymouth against Liverpool next month. One for the new head coach to savour, I'm sure. Challenge against Liverpool. It's all about tonight. And then a trip to Sunderland. Doesn't get any easier for Plymouth. Two of the top four. Burnley is still in the FA Cup as well. They've got a Premier League side away in round 4. They go to Southampton. Foster the target, judged by Pleguezuelo, the Spanish centre-back. Brazilian Pires with a throw. Here's Connor Roberts. Anthony. Offers real quality down the Burnley right, the number 11 on loan from Bournemouth, Jayden Anthony. He's formed a good understanding with Roberts. This is CJ Egan-Riley looking for Foster, an ambitious pass. Burnley have found a way through here. Stabbed behind by JB. Leeds United loanee Darko JB. The right position here for Plymouth. Burnley stepping onto their opponents. They'll have the first corner. Esteve and Egan-Riley, the two centre-backs, have made their way forward inside that Plymouth penalty area. Fleming, who's being held there. No real complaints from the Dutchman. This is Brownhill finding Roberts. Good start from Burnley. Taking the initiative very early on here. Foster's header won't trouble goalkeeper Grimshaw. No real pace on the cross. Difficult to generate power here for the South African international Lyle Foster. Throw here for Ogbeta. Now JB. Pleguezuelo. Now Puchac, the Polish international. Too long for Ogbeta. Scott Parker replaced Vincent Kompany as the head coach of Burnley. Been out of the game for a little while. He had a spell in Belgium which didn't go too well for him. But he's proven at this level in England, that is for sure. Free kick against Zian Fleming. Hardy, the target of the free kick, drops here for Ogbeta. Al-Hajj. Puchac. Pleguezuelo. Burnley confident enough to press in numbers, press high. Puchac goes back to Grimshaw. Foster. JB. Puchac. Can't find the run of Al-Hajj. Little room now for Anthony. Swings in the cross, and it's too long for Foster. I think he had time to advance a little further there. Hand of apology from Jayden Anthony. Has been delivering a lot of good quality in recent performances, but not there. Burnley not the only championship promotion contender in action tonight. So too are Leeds. They're hosting Norwich at Elland Road. Wins last night for the other two in the top four, Sheffield United and Sunderland. Sheffield United coming from behind to win at Swansea. Sunderland won by the only goal at Derby. Ogbeta. Top four in the championship have rather got away from the rest over the last few weeks. Currently, Leeds United are on top. And that's courtesy of them having a good performance against Norwich, but Sheffield United, before tonight's games got underway, were on top, but two Yorkshire clubs fill the top two positions at the moment. Burnley and Sunderland well into the over the 50-point mark as well. And you have to go back to Middlesbrough with 44 points. So there's a 10-point gap between Middlesbrough and Sunderland and Burnley at the moment. Still a lot of games to be played, but it's a handsome advantage to have for the top four. Two teams go up automatically, of course, and one from the playoffs. Mentioned earlier that Plymouth sit at the bottom, 21 points before a ball was kicked tonight, 5 points behind the other two teams in the bottom three. The relegation zone, that's Luton and Hull. Driven in by Brownhill, what a finish by Zian Fleming. Whoa, that is sky-high quality from Burnley. The cross was a peach, but how about Fleming's contact? That had Premier League class written all over it. He just drives his right foot into this Brownhill. Not an easy chance at all for Fleming, but the timing is perfection. Nothing at all that Grimshaw could do about that. The Dutchman on loan from Millwall with a gloss touch. Plymouth 0, Burnley 1. It's taken Burnley just 11 minutes. And they're on the march again here. Could guess worse for Plymouth here. Blocked by Grimshaw. Really good ball carry from Josh Laurent. Could be in for a busy night, Grimshaw. Given the hot start that Burnley have made here, Laurent has to settle for the corner. Face says it all, really, for the Plymouth head coach. Perez with the Burnley corner. Grimshaw opts to punch. And Plymouth could do with some possession from their point of view. Bit of space now for Al-Haj. Burnley have shown this season their ability to get back into shape so quickly when there's a turnover of possession. It's been a feature of Scott Parker's side this season. That's why they've conceded only 9 goals in 27 league games. Outstanding, astonishing record. Roberts looking for the goal scorer, Fleming. Oh, almost the perfect flick there for Laurent. Barry Mumbo with work to do here. Ball had gone out. It will be a throw to Burnley. And he's not long had his feet under the table. Miron Muslik had a spell in Belgium with Cercle Brugge. First taste of the English game, coming up against one of the Championship's best in Burnley, whose quick start has been rewarded with that fine finish from Fleming, getting on the end of the accurate cross from Josh Brownhill. A win tonight would take Burnley back into third, above Sunderland on 56 points, Sunderland on 54. Burnley can't make the top two this evening, though. Header down, appeals for handball in there. Several Burnley players appealing for the penalty. Referee John Busby said no. This is Brownhill. Already you can hear the anxiety amongst the Plymouth fans. This is very one-sided. Opening quarter of an hour. Esteve. Pires. Egan Riley. Oh, it's a mistake there. Lets in Al-Haj. Burnley quick to help Egan Riley out there. Almost a route to goal, though, for Plymouth. Got to maximise mistakes when they come. Burnley don't make many. Here's Foster. Randall. This is Palsson, the Icelandic international. Helped forward by Ballymumba, offside against Ryan Hardy. He's going to have to be patient tonight, the Plymouth number 9. This was the Burnley appeals for a penalty. Ooh, could well have had it. Was the arm in an unnatural position here, Palsson? You would probably say yes. Of course, he's got to raise his arm to get elevation, but it stays in the air for a while. It was certainly worth a shout for Burnley. Maybe got away with one there, Plymouth. The side have been in a stranglehold for 18 minutes now. Just that one mistake from Egan Riley, which Plymouth couldn't capitalise upon. And there's another error, but Roberts is aware, very much in the wider weight club there, and he needed to be the right back. It's all about maintaining belief for the bottom team. Yes, you've conceded an early goal, but heads have got to stay up and get this crowd on side. You never know what could materialise. But by and large, it's looking like a promotion contender against a relegation struggler thus far. This is Anthony. Roberts. Oh, lovely. Anthony trying to feed the third man run there of Cullen. Pires. Fleming. Flag stays down for the time being, but then raised against Zian Fleming. See how tight it was. Very tight. Wonderful finish for the goal, though, from Zian Fleming. 6 goals, his last 9 appearances now. This is Ogbeta for Plymouth. And he's got a corner. Plymouth's first opportunity to get the central defenders forward. Paulsen marches towards the penalty area, as does Pleguezuelo. Polish international. Timoteusz Puchacz will take the corner kick. This is Jayden Anthony, can't escape Ogbeta. Oh, now then, Burnley get the break. Plymouth bodies rushing back, looking to get into some kind of defensive shape here. Momentum's gone out of that Burnley counter. Just a little reminder, though, to Plymouth that they might be at their most vulnerable when they're attacking Burnley. Talked so much this evening about Burnley's magnificent defensive record in the Championship this season. I won't dwell too much on Plymouth's, but their problems clear to see. Prior to this evening, they had conceded 55 Championship goals. That is why they are bottom of the table, averaging 2 goals against per game. Here's JB. Now Ogbeta, good crossing position. Hardy wanting quality, doesn't get past the first man, Roberts. Plymouth will need their full-backs, Ogbeta and Mumba, to get forward, effectively wing-backs tonight. Playing 3 central defenders. Whilst they'll have their defensive duties, that pair, Ogbeta and Mumba, it's incumbent upon those two, and that's what he'll have preached in his team talk, that when they get the opportunity, the wing-backs, they must be prepared to go forward. JB. They were happy to hear the whistle there, Plymouth. Burnley setting traps for the home side in those kind of areas. Looks very content, doesn't he? Scott Parker. Well, he might be. Side playing well. Huge game for Burnley next. It's not until this coming Monday when they will host Leeds. Doesn't get any bigger in the Championship this season than that. So important to go into that game with another 3 points. So far, so good. A long way to go. As I mentioned, Plymouth's next game is at high-flying Sunderland, who are unbeaten at the Stadium of Light in the Championship this season. Foster. Just running Pleguezuelo there, that the Spaniard managed to keep up with the South African international. Lyle Foster there. Just needed to step on the gas, the Plymouth centre-back, and he did. It's a corner to Burnley. Keep an eye out for Brownhill, just lurking on the edge of the Plymouth penalty area there. Anything that might come his way. Nobody marking him at the moment either. It's lobbed over the top harmlessly by Pires. Nice chest pass from Fleming. Here's Anthony. Fleming. Shots on now. It's routine in the end, really, for Grimshaw. He made the space well enough, Zian Fleming, playing very confidently in that central striking role. Been a good acquisition on loan from Millwall, the Dutchman, this season. Highlighted by his splendid goal tonight. Al-Hajj not on the same wavelength as Ogbeta. The Burnley fans in that stand behind the goal that they defend in the first half. Two coaches with very differing thoughts at the moment. One under pressure, the other one looking relaxed. Roberts. Brownhill intercepting the JB pass. Here's Foster. Good offer from Pires. Fleming leaving that intentionally for Anthony, but it's Roberts who picks up the loose ball. Anthony. Josh Laurent. Plenty forward in this Burnley attack. Punch forward to Connor Roberts. Anxiety raining down from the Plymouth fans, from the stands all around home park, desperate for their team to get out. Easier said than done. Roberts. Lovely way to pass. Oh, what a save from Grimshaw to deny Josh Laurent, who couldn't have hit that any better. Athletic save, plunging to his right here from Dan Grimshaw. Laurent catches this so well. It had real venom. It's an excellent save. Stays 1-0. Brownhill absolutely free from the corner. Poor marking from Plymouth. Just weren't doing the basics there, the home side. Brownhill didn't have to work to find the space for the free header. Half an hour gone, it's been tough already for Plymouth. Look at the room that Brownhill had there. Al-Hadj, who was slow to get back to pick up Brownhill. It's a foul by Badu. Quickly taken free kick, looking for Anthony. Just well with the cross. 2-0. Zian Fleming at the double for Burnley. But what an assist from Jayden Anthony. It's a sinking feeling. Whatever your allegiance to Plymouth, head coach, players, supporters, the bottom side struggling here. And Zian Fleming helping himself to his second goal on the night. But have a look at this. Jayden Anthony didn't look possible to do that. Little deflection off Puhach, which didn't help Plymouth. But nevertheless, was it a moving ball, though, when Cullen delivered the free kick? Possibly. It might have been called back. It wasn't, but there's a little deflection there off the knee of Puhach. And it falls to Zian Fleming, and he wasn't going to turn down that opportunity. Plymouth 0, Burnley 2. The 6th league goal of the season for the Dutchman. Burnley, who've been managing less than a goal a game in the last 16 championship matches, have found 2 in just over half an hour. I talked earlier, when things go well for Plymouth at home park, this ground can be electric. Conversely, when they're up against it, struggling, it can be a little toxic. For the time being, the Plymouth fans have to hide their disappointment, try and get behind their team as much as possible. There's still a long, long way to go. And it's been Burnley's half and then some. Every time they go forward, they look a real threat. Laurent. Cullen. Anthony. Roberts. Brownhill. Cullen. Burnley might see this, if I'm not being too unkind to Plymouth, as a night where they can improve their goal difference a good deal. Already doing that, but there might be more goals for them here. Anthony is onside. Needs an outball now, Jayden Anthony. Finds it in Roberts. And the shot's on! 3-0. Well, where were the green shirts? As well as Burnley are playing, you have to say this is way too easy. Josh Laurent makes it 3-0. And Plymouth are all over the place. But let's not take anything away from Burnley. They set their stall out right from the first whistle, that they could come here against the bottom side and dominate, and that they have done with a capital D. But just look at the ball fed in here by Connor Roberts. First to react, they're just on their heels, the players in green. Laurent isn't. He's active. And it's an excellent finish from the Burnley midfielder. And it's 3-0 for the away side. Surely they're not going home already, are they? Early cup of tea before half-time, or have they seen enough? Forward by Cullen. Baidu. Mumba. Stoppage here. Pleguezuelo has picked up a knock. Or do they have to change their shape? Plymouth playing with 3 centre-backs, wing-backs. Burnley really enjoying the spaces that they're being afforded. This is a horrible watch for those Plymouth fans. They're being taken apart here by a very good Burnley team, who of course only came down from the Premier League last season. The inquest has begun between coach and players. Spaniard back on his feet again, albeit limping. Penny for the thoughts of Morgan Whittaker. Not available, it would seem, for the coach tonight. Is he on the way out of home park, Whittaker? You'd have to say it looks like it, otherwise he would have been in the team. Maybe a club who has agreed terms with Whittaker. We'll find out in the coming hours. Burnley are one of the teams who've made a bid for him. Coincidentally, Plymouth's opponents tonight, Middlesbrough, another one, have had a January bid for Morgan Whittaker. And there are others. Foster just running the ball out of play. Just can't get any meaningful possession, Plymouth. Dare I say, in the 39th minute, this is a damage limitation exercise for Plymouth already. Fanciful to think against a team of Burnley's quality that can come from 3-0 down. Not impossible, but you'd say unlikely. Another example of Anthony just being more urgent than better there, who was favoured to get to that ball first. In by Puhac, flick on by Hardy, but Nothing in the Ryan Hardy header to trouble an unemployed James Trafford so far. Baidu. Roberts. Anthony. Cullen. Fouled by JB. Just a little over-eager there, Darko JB. But Cullen and Brownhill are absolutely bossing along with Laurent on the midfield. Really enjoying themselves, that trio, tonight. Hard work for JB and his fellow midfield colleagues. Corner, Burnley. Paulson conceding that inside the last 5 minutes of the first half, and Plymouth just hoping it doesn't get any worse before the break. Look at Brownhill again, unmarked. Nobody picking up Burnley's number 8 on the edge of the penalty area. It comes out, he's got a free shot. Appeals for handball. Referee Busby turns his head away. Burnley appealed for a handball against Victor Paulsen. Foster. Ogbeta. Venezuela looking for Hardy. Comfortable interception for Esteve. Paulsen. Not getting anywhere with those long balls. Esteve and Egan Riley have mopped all of them up so far. It's a foul by Paulsen. Jade Anthony on the march again. Better. Able to see it out for the goal kick. 2 minutes left of the first half, plus any stoppage time referee John Busby deems to add on. Throw will be left for Lucas Pires. Having to take this from the right position, though. Brownhill. Roberts. Egan Riley. Cullen. Nice football again from Burnley. Crisp, accurate. Always several options for the player in possession. Movement off the ball is very good from Scott Parker's side. Playing their way through Plymouth again. Anthony stands up a great cross, and Laurent makes it fall. Plymouth are being run dizzy here. They can't plug the gaps. Burnley just way too good for them. And Josh Laurent joins Ian Fleming on 2 goals in this first half. And Burnley have 4. Lovely football. They're trying to close Plymouth. But the passing, the movement, just too good. It wasn't a particularly good touch from JB, which gave the ball away, and Anthony helped it in. There, JB with the interception. It falls straight to Jayden Anthony. Great cut back from Foster from the byline, and there was Laurent at the far post with a simple task to make it 4. Well, if they're not careful, this is going to get very, very ugly indeed for Plymouth. It's ugly already. Not yet at half-time. Still got another minute of the minimum of 2 that were added on. I think we can prophesy what the reaction from the Plymouth fans is going to be to the imminent half-time whistle. The fans will let the players know what they've thought about it. As for the Burnley fans there in your picture behind the goal that they've been defending in the first half, well, they'll be delighted with their team's display. The old adage is you can only face and play what's in front of you. It is the Championship's bottom team. They've looked every inch the Championship's bottom team tonight, Plymouth. But take nothing away from Burnley, who are almost in for a 5th, and they are in for a 5th. And this is a nightmare night for Plymouth Argyle. Josh Cullen followed up after the mistake. And Burnley have hit 5 in the first half here at home park. And they've even had a couple of decent penalty shouts turned down as well. But this is all of Plymouth's own making here. The back pass from Randall, not carrying enough pressure. Grimshaw, the goalkeeper, in trouble. And when it drops to Josh Cullen, he's in the wide awake club there to stroke the ball into an empty net. Plymouth 0, Burnley 5. Did take a deflection off Palsson, but it'll certainly be Cullen's goal. They need the sanctuary of the half-time dressing room now, but what can this man say? Extraordinary. Almost the entire Championship table between them. It looks almost like 3 divisions. The boos resound all around home park. Simply not good enough from Plymouth, but very, very, very good from Burnley. 2 goals for Ian Fleming, 2 goals for Josh Laurent. And Josh Cullen, just shy of the half-time whistle, helping himself to Burnley's 5th. What does the second half have in store? More misery, one suspects, for Plymouth, more delight for them. Half-time in the Championship at home park. Get this scoreline. Plymouth Argyle 0, Burnley 5. Teams out then for the second half at home park in the Championship. A remarkable first 45 minutes in which Burnley scored 5 goals without reply. For them, it's been a very, very impressive evening. For the home side, Plymouth, frankly, a horror show. The only thing really that the head coach of Plymouth, Miron Muslik, could have said in the half-time dressing room, apart from, I don't know, criticising his players, getting at his players for the lack of physicality, the lack of energy that they had in that first half, but at the same time trying to say, well, look, we're not going to win this game, but let's not concede 10. It's very possible, given the way the first half went, in which Burnley had 15 attempts, 9 of those on target, 2 good penalty shouts, some good saves as well from goalkeeper Grimshaw. It could have been 7 or 8 in the first half for Burnley, who had 27 touches in the Plymouth penalty area in that first half. At the other end, Plymouth only 3 touches in the Burnley box. It will be the away side to get the second half underway. And they're not built under Scott Parker, Burnley, to take things light in the second half. Yes, he's got the affordability of taking off key players like Brownhill, maybe one or both of his centre-backs who've been excellent. They've got a strong squad anyway, quality on the bench. But they'll be hungry for more goals, I'm sure, Burnley. Difficult to know really what Plymouth can do about at least matching Burnley for the second half. The result is not in doubt. Al-Hajj off at half-time, on in his place. He's right, Sorinola is on for Ogbeta. It's not just 2 substitutions at half-time for Plymouth. Bundu is on for Hardy. Triple change at the break for Plymouth. Will it bring about some kind of improvement? Baidu. Randall. And Bundu just snatching at the shot, but it is an attempt. It's only their second attempt at goal tonight. Nothing on target yet. Almost ironic cheers from the Plymouth fans behind the goal. But it was never troubling Trafford. Mustafa Bundu with the attempt. Has got 4 goals this season, 3 of them in the league. Well, even if Morgan Whittaker had been in the team tonight. Not sure that is him though, but I thought we spotted him earlier. It's not a happy place to be at the moment. Plymouth Argyle and home park. Home side started tonight, 6 points from safety. Far and away the worst goal difference, which is now minus 35. 60 goals they've conceded in the Championship now. 28 games. Egan Riley. Forward by Egan Riley. Could out easily by Puhach. Free kick against Fleming. Difficult night for the captain Randall. In midfield, Adam Randall, Darko JB and others have found it really difficult in that Plymouth midfield. Have been very much on the sidelines, very little possession, meaningful possession for Plymouth. Burnley continuing to be really consistent with and without the ball. Just looking to restore a little bit of pride, Plymouth, in this second half. I think they will conserve a little bit of energy, Burnley, when they can in the second half, because they know they've got a huge match next in the league this coming Monday when they'll host Leeds. Two teams who are intent on finishing in the top two automatic promotion places this season. Sheffield United and Sunderland, the two other teams who would want to have a say about that at this current stage of the season. It's going to be a cracking game at Turf Moor on Monday, that is for sure. That's a loose one. A few of those tonight from Burnley. Egan Riley came through the ranks at Manchester City, the young centre-back. Made one Premier League appearance for Manchester City and 3 senior appearances in all at his time at the Etihad. It's a real breakthrough season at Burnley for him. It's his 3rd season with the club now. And they're in behind again, Burnley. Anthony, constant threat down that right-hand side. The Bournemouth loanee. Burnley fans wanting 6 is the cry behind the goal, the attack. It's a free kick to Burnley. Callum Wright wondering what he did wrong there, but the referee felt he didn't get enough of the ball and he got something of the opponent. Forward come Egan Riley and Esteve, looking to join the goal scorers tonight. Zian Fleming on a hat-trick, Josh Laurent on a hat-trick. Away by Callum Wright. Esteve. Pires. Foster. Laurent. Don't think it'll be too long, quarter of an hour maybe or so into the second half before Scott Parker makes changes. Talked about the strength in depth on the bench. Oh, that was very nearly a hat-trick for Zian Fleming. Gorgeous cross from Anthony. Maybe just brushes the fringe of Zian Fleming. This, for a moment, it looks like he's going to get a firm header on this. Not quite, but it was close. If you look at the players that they've got, Tunisian international Hannibal Mejri, who's back from a 3-match suspension. He'll want some minutes, I'm sure, this evening. Jay Rodriguez, the experienced striker, the Ecuadorian international, Jeremy Sarmiento. The veteran striker, Ashley Barnes, back for another spell at Burnley. All of those available from the substitutes bench for Scott Parker. Still struggling to show any quality in attack, Plymouth, on the rare occasions they do attack. One of the better Plymouth touches on the night, that. Foster. Chance to bear down on goal for Lyle Foster. He's eventually caught. Brownhill. Anthony. Well, they're looking for a penalty. Burnley, once again, they're denied. They had 2 good penalty shouts in the first half. And another strong appeal there, which John Busby, the referee, turns down. That'll be worth another look in a moment. Scott Parker screaming at the referee, John Busby, that this was a foul. Look at number 19, Fleming. Well, he looks as though he's hauled down by Pleguezuelo here, who has a hold of his shirt. Maybe let's go at just the right time. Held on a little longer. I'm sure it would have been a penalty. It was another situation worth appealing for, as far as Burnley were concerned. Foster. And now Pires. Oh no. I think he got caught in 2 minds, whether to cross or go for the chip over the goalkeeper. Turned out to be much ado about nothing for the Brazilian fullback in the end. Found himself in good space, though. I think it was an attempt at a cross. He just didn't wrap his left foot around it sufficiently. In for Bashir Humphreys, and the only Burnley change from the goalless draw at home to Sunderland last Friday. A game remembered for 2 late Sunderland penalty misses, with James Trafford, the Burnley keeper, denying Wilson Isidore on both occasions. High drama at Turf Moor on that night. Puhac. Fair play to the Plymouth fans, finding their voices. Difficult situation. He'll be thinking about changes soon, I'm sure, Scott Parker. No need to risk injuries to key players in the position they find themselves at the moment. It's not just about that, it's about giving minutes to those players who've been on the fringes a little more. It always helps to maintain the morale in the squad, and it's very high at the moment, though, you have to say, for Burnley. Confidence is very much on show. Pulse. Pleguezuelo. Here's Wright. Burnley have only been beaten twice in the Championship this season, both away from home. Sunderland in the third game of the season, and their last defeat in the league came on the 3rd of November away at Millwall. Incidentally, 3rd of November was the day that Plymouth last won in the Championship. 1-0 win here against Portsmouth. Seems a very, very long time ago if your allegiance lies with Argyle. Coming up to the hour mark. Burnley still dominating much of the possession. Egan Riley. Roberts. Nice weight on that. Paulson, bouncing ball was a little awkward for him. Here's Fleming. Had he got that through, there was a tap in for Foster, but goalkeeper Grimshaw happy to get gloves on it. Signed last summer, the Plymouth goalkeeper from Blackpool. Once on the books of Manchester City, Dan Grimshaw. Didn't make any senior appearances in his time there. Puhach. Looking for Bundu. Comfortable clearance for Egan Riley. Yeah, Scott Parker calling for replacements now, with an hour gone. It's a foul on Cullen. Only one goal when these two teams met at Turf Moor back in October. Josh Brownhill penalty gave Burnley all 3 points on the day. This has been a good deal more comfortable for Scott Parker's side. Foster. Here's Laurent, held up by Paulson. Pires picking out Foster. Cullen. Good looking cross. Fleming rather took that away from Jayden Anthony, I think. I think it was one that he was entitled to go for, Cian Fleming. Kind of cross he very much looks to receive. Not sure Anthony would have done much in behind him, in truth. Cullen has been his usual energetic self in the Burnley engine room. Quality performer. Third season now at Burnley. Joined from Belgian football. He had a spell with Anderlecht. Esteves foul on Bundu. And Maxime Esteve, his face tells a tale that in his view that was not a foul, but John Busby sees it as one. Let's have a look from this angle. Yeah, looks a foul to me. He just jabs that left foot into Bundu. A good position for Plymouth. Pleguezuelo just got across there to tell Adam Randall where he wants this free kick placed. Burnley desperate to keep up this remarkable defensive record. And they will, by the fists of James Trafford. Burnley have not conceded in the last 5 league games. And as I've said several times this evening, just 9 all season in the Championship. Here's Bundu. Didn't quite time the run. Mustafa Bundu. Offside flag against him. Well, Foster struggling. I think his evening may be over shortly. JB. Just haven't got that fluency, have they, Plymouth? When they do get possession, they really struggle to keep the ball moving and find that additional quality off the ball, the movement for the player in possession. There's a real yawning gap between the two teams in that department, and several others, it has to be said. Free kick for Plymouth. A little bit of afters going on. Callum Wright and Josh Brownhill going nose to nose. Wright didn't like the attentions of Brownhill there. Referee just trying to keep a lid on things. Long conversation between the two players and referee Busby. No cards produced, it would seem. But there was certainly an argument that continued after Brownhill's challenge on Wright. Here's my view of it. Said Callum Wright to Brownhill. Double change for Burnley. Captain Josh Brownhill coming off. Huge favourite with the Burnley fans. Another very good performance, so consistent. Jeremy Sarmiento is coming on. And so too is Luca Koleosho. Jaden Anthony, the other player, departing. Koleosho, 20-year-old, born in the USA, has a Nigerian father and an Italian-Canadian mother. He's got youth caps for the USA and Italy. And he could play senior football as well for Nigeria and Canada, should he wish. Plenty of options for 20-year-old Luca Koleosho. Another player arriving, Sarmiento, the Ecuadorian international. Here's Wright. Ogbeta. Puhac, who was trying to, or rather Callum Wright, who was trying to find a crossing position there, couldn't do so. It's the 5th substitution now for Plymouth. Adam Randall, the captain, coming off. He'll be replaced by Jordan Houghton, who receives the captain's armband and takes Randall's identical position at the heart of the Plymouth midfield. Well, Plymouth have never looked like scoring tonight, but at least they've seen away 25 second-half minutes without conceding. 5-0 down at half-time. Great break for Laurent. This is Pires. Foster. Moving okay again after limping quite heavily a few minutes ago. Lyle Foster, his cross. Looking for Fleming, and again the Dutchman wasn't too far away from getting on the end of a cross. Burnley fans still chanting, "We want 6, we want 6." Plenty of time to find at least a 6th. Oh, the gallus humour of the Plymouth fans chanting back, "We want 1." Well, got to try and find some element of humour in a barren, humourless night, really, for Plymouth. Pires. Foster. Egan Riley. They certainly dropped the intensity that they showed for every single second of the first half, Burnley, and that's to be expected. They know they've got Leeds next, conserving energy. Don't want to pick up injuries. I've touched on that before tonight. They're moving above Sunderland. Kicked off tonight in 4th, Burnley, above Sunderland now, 2 points ahead of one of their promotional rivals. But not enough to get them into the top 2. Foster. Fleming trying to release the South African international there, Lyle Foster. Well, Miron Muslik, the head coach of Plymouth, the Bosnian who left the Bosnian War with his family to move to Austria at a young age. And he recently arrived at Plymouth, took over from Wayne Rooney. He must find solutions to Plymouth's impotency quickly. He'll hope for some signings in this January transfer window. I understand they've had an offer accepted for a centre-back from Sparta Rotterdam, Mike Eerdhuizen. So that might be one that will go through in the coming hours. Could be available to make his debut at Sunderland on Saturday if that deal is made. But he said in the defeat against Queen's Park Rangers here at the weekend, Muslik, that his team lacked physicality and they were sloppy. Well, I think you could level that at the players again in green tonight. He went on to add, we're struggling defensively, struggling offensively, especially at home. In matches we have to be more dangerous. Well, they've not been any danger to Scott Parker's Burnley. Parker about to bring on Hannibal Mejri after a 3-match ban. He'll be keen to get back into the action, the Tunisian international. Once on the books, you'll recall, of Manchester United. Mejri turned 22 yesterday. Now Bundu, can he get there first? He's offside. Plymouth fans even denied a consolation goal by the assistant's flag. Decent finish from Mustafa Bundu, but didn't get himself back on side quickly enough, nowhere near quickly enough. It was a comfortable decision for the assistant referee. Inside the last quarter of an hour now of normal time. Lovely reception of the ball there by Fleming. Koleosho. So Burnley double substitution in the end. Lyle Foster is going to make way for Hannibal Mejri. Came through the ranks at Manchester United, the Tunisian international. Joined United in his mid-teens. Played 13 times in the senior team in his time at Old Trafford, 8 in the Premier League. And 2 goals, Ian Fleming, with that wonderful first goal for Burnley, getting on the end of that Josh Brownhill cross and a deflected Jayden Anthony cross. And the Dutchman helped himself to a second. He makes way now for Jay Rodriguez. Long-serving Burnley striker joining Hannibal Mejri for the final minutes. First involvement for Mejri. Free kick against Puhac. Worth reminding ourselves that Burnley, despite their high position in the league, had scored only 14 goals in the last 16 league games. 5 in 45 tonight, 45 and a bit, with the 5th coming in stoppage time at the end of that first half. But they could have easily had 8 or 9. There's been 2 or 3 notable saves as well from Dan Grimshaw on the Plymouth goal. There's been 3 strong shouts for a penalty from the away side, all turned down. Lovely touch from Rodriguez. Sarmiento. And they're through here, Burnley. If the pass is right, they're on for a 6th. It's too heavy. Jay Rodriguez trying to find Koleosho. Bundu's header not able to find right. Well, fair play to the Plymouth fans that are still inside Home Park, braving the cold of the evening. And some of them intend to stay right to the end. Has to be said, a fair number of already gone. Some of them were leaving after Burnley's 3rd goal this evening in the first half. Mumba working hard against Koleosho. Offside flag against Bundu. Another change for Plymouth. Like I said, they made 5 substitutes earlier. I meant to say it was only 4. We're going to get Tegan Finn on, teenage attacking player, coming on for Michael Baidu for the remaining minutes. Good opportunity for Finn to get some more first-team action when he made his first pro contract last October. Made his debut against Leeds as a substitute earlier in the season. Puhaj. Burnley heading for yet another clean sheet, it would seem. And naturally very, very proud of this record of only 9 league goals conceded all season. And it would be 6 clean sheets in a row in the Championship if they survive the minutes that remain. It's been a very quiet evening for James Trafford in that Burnley goal. Very much in the glare of the spotlight. And last Friday with those 2 late penalty saves against Sunderland. Come the end of the season, we may well be looking back on that night at Turf Moor and thinking that was the difference between automatic promotion and the playoffs, one way or the other. Sunderland, of course, one of Burnley's chief rivals for the promotion places, along with Sheffield United and Leeds. Top 4 have pulled away from the rest. Can still be caught, of course. There's still 18 matches to go after this round. A lot can change, but it is a sizable gap that the top four have got over the rest. A 10-point gap between Sunderland in 4th and Middlesbrough in 5th. Joe Worrell coming on now for CJ Egan-Riley. Well-earned rest for this very, very talented 22-year-old centre-back. He looks the real deal, doesn't he? Joe Worrell, plenty of experience, former Nottingham Forest centre-back. Not getting much playing time because of the consistency in that partnership of Esteve and Egan-Riley. Gets a few minutes here now, Worrell. Loose one from Worrell. Inside the last 5 minutes. Must have felt like 185 minutes to him and his players. He's got a huge task on his hands to find, first of all, the player selection, the right system to go to Sunderland on Saturday, who've not lost at home in the Championship this season. Another very, very difficult game on paper, at least, for Plymouth. They've got to stop conceding goals. 60 now have gone in their net in the league in 28 games. That is relegation form. Coach Muslik talked about having the right personalities, the right character. Well, he's going to have to dig deep into his squad to find those for Saturday. May have one, maybe more new faces on show up on Wearside by then. They tried to be active in the transfer market. They may be selling their best attacking player in Morgan Whittaker, who was not included in the squad tonight amid very, very heavy speculation now that Whittaker is on his way out. Possibly to Burnley or Middlesbrough. Both made bids this month. Here's Laurent, it's a foul. It's going to be a yellow card. And that was a late challenge by Sorinola. A good position here now for Burnley as we tick into minute 88. Any number of Burnley players will want to have a crack at goal here. Good ball carry from Laurent, who's had an excellent game. Who hasn't in a Burnley shirt? So can Burnley put the gloss on a glorious night for them with the 6th? Looks inviting, doesn't it? Mejri and Pires deciding who's going to pull rank here. Looks like Hannibal Mejri to me. Watch that gap. Grimshaw, the goalkeeper, saying to Ballymomba. So left foot of Pires or right foot of Mejri? It's Hannibal Mejri, never dipping enough. Plymouth's away record is miserable. They've taken only 3 points on the road this season. 18 points have been gained here. And it's going to be the home form that's going to be the deciding factor, one would think, as to whether they stay in England's second tier this season. Only survived on the final day last season in the Championship, remember. They're not entirely cut adrift. It's a 6-point gap between themselves and safety at the moment. That's bridgeable. But as I said, they've got to stop leaking goals. It's the first task, and then they've got to find more creativity at the top end of the pitch. The problems are everywhere. It's plain to see for everyone watching. Now then, Pelleguezo. Decent cross, right at the shot. I mean, Burnley managed to get bodies in the way. And Pleguezuelo found himself in a good position there for Plymouth. But no consolation goal as we are about to tiptoe into stoppage time. Ball's out. Fourth official, Alex Chilovic, out with the board to show us how many minutes are remaining. Just a few more for Plymouth to endure. Minimum of 2, that's all. Worrell. Well, it'll be scant consolation to Plymouth, but it looks as though they're going to play out a goalless second half here. And if I'm not being too unkind to them, it's largely down to Burnley just stepping off the gas somewhat. Yes, they've had a few chances in the second half as well, Burnley. Another penalty shout to add to the 2 they had in the first half. Plymouth have had 1 or 2 moments, but not much more than that around the Burnley penalty area. As they have a late free kick here, final 30 seconds approaching. Referee John Busby preparing to blow for full time. We've had the 2 minutes of additional time. And a thumping away win for Scott Parker's Burnley. Upwardly mobile still. After 3 0-0 draws in the last 4 league games, they're very much back to winning ways. And to add to their confidence, scoring goals. An embrace between the 2 head coaches. Scott Parker saw his side 5-0 up at half-time. Could have been 7 or 8 by the break, such was their dominance. Zian Fleming with 2 goals. 2 as well for the very impressive Josh Laurent. Along with Josh Cullen and Josh Brownhill, the Joshes really enjoyed their time in midfield tonight. James Trafford barely had anything to do in the Burnley goal. But it's Leeds next for Scott Parker and company this coming Monday. What a game in prospect there. Burnley above Sunderland into 3rd. Plymouth stay very much rooted to the bottom